Welcome back, friends. As you can see by the title, welcome back, friends. As you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about what you don't learn in NP school, particularly for NP entrepreneur aspiring clinicians or those of you already in practice looking to improve, right? Because we can always get better. Today, we're going to do something we've recently started, which is our case study series, where we take a look at a nurse or NP-owned business and we see what we can learn from it so we can be better. We're going to look at what they do, consume that information because it's very valuable. But then we're going to take a step back and look at how they're doing it, why they're doing it, and what we can get from that. It's the time that I'm filming this. I'm doing batch content day. This is the third of 3 episodes. If you've hung out with me the whole time, thank you so much. And welcome back. So this will be a real world case study that will offer invaluable insights and lessons for NP entrepreneurs looking to grow your business. We're going to analyze the website, look at the business structure of a company called Alight After 9, a company founded by a good friend of mine, Rachel Dumas, who's currently a graduate nursing student in informatics. At the time that we're filming, she's wrapping up her clinical hours. She can touch graduation and already talking about her doctoral studies. And at the time that I'm recording, so if you're joining me for batch content day, then she will be the guest for our episode tomorrow where she talks about Alight After 9 and her own personal journey with infertility and pregnant loss. So today we'll take a look inside that. And if you're watching the replay, then it's available. You can go check it out now. Those videos are dropped every Sunday at noon Eastern and the audio at 5 a.m. on your favorite podcast apps. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Dr. Kimberly Madison. I am a duck-liver-prepared nurse practitioner and the founder of Mahogany Dermatology, Nursing Education and Research. I'm all over the internet, here on YouTube, the Mahogany Dermatology blog, and all the social media platforms. At my company, we are committed to increasing access to dermatology, nursing education, and research with an emphasis on skin of color, business acumen, and digital fluency. Today, we'll be focusing on that business acumen and talking about how we can become better entrepreneurs. We're going to do what I've done before, which is a screen share. And hopefully, we don't have any snafus. I'm checking out the microphone and the sound now. And we're going to check on our quality, make sure you can see me and hear me. And then we'll jump into our prayer. And then we'll get into our topic for today. Thank you so much. If you're here, say hello in the comments.
Thank you so much. If you're here, say hello.
And then I can see my microphone moving. And now I'm just checking to make sure you can also hear me on the phone. And great. Wonderful. And we only do that because of the problems that we've had in the past. I can see you. Say hello. Okay, I'm going to pull up our prayer. God, when I'm afraid, I will put my trust in you. I know that when you are for me, nothing can stand against me. Right now, I surrender my fears to you. Please take my concerns, shame, and problems and replace them with your peace and truth. Protect my mind as I continue to draw close to you. In Jesus' name, amen. And that's really perfect because last week we talked about depression amongst NP entrepreneurs. And one thing I didn't mention during that episode was one thing I think about why there might be a high rate of depression is right? We don't tell enough people all the resources that you need to really be successful in something, right? So it's not just you going to that good school, getting those good grades, getting a degree, getting a good job. It's more than that. You need a whole lot of other resources to show up every day, right? But also, I think because you see people doing something, going to NP school, starting a business, getting relationships, you might think like, there's no problems associated with that. And that's not true. There's problems everywhere, right? So just because people are doing something, that doesn't mean that it can't be better. Doesn't mean there's no stress related to it. It doesn't mean they don't second guess their decisions all the time. All those things can be true at the same time. And they still might decide they love it and want to stay with it, practicing business. But I think if you think that things are perfect in anybody's life or in any situation, any circumstance, and then you go on to live that and you don't find that to be true, that can lead to some depression, right? And that really speaks to having realistic expectations, which I don't think we do enough of. So we're going to jump into this screen share, and hopefully everything goes well. Okay. And so if you want to do a screen share, so as I go live, I'm on my laptop, I have lights, I have the microphone. You don't need any of that if you don't want to. And you can't go live on your phone until you reach a certain number of followers, I think. I tried it the very first time I made a video, which was over a year ago, but I haven't tried since. So I don't know what the requirements are, but there are requirements. Before we jump into that, quick announcement. I'm at the time you're watching this, at the time you're watching the replay, I'm at it might be the last week of the biggest launch ever with Jasmine Star, which is an intensive business sales coaching program. That's what really attracted me to her program, was the focus on sales. Because when I looked at the data that I was collecting among NP entrepreneurs, that was this thing that was missing. And I think that might have contributed to the number of burnout, the number of people selling their business, getting frustrated, abandoning. It's just a theory. And so I was really attracted to that. And so whether or not you're trying to sell things online or in person, having those skills are super important. And so the masterclass that we have coming up, you're already an expert, learn how aesthetic and derm and peas get paid like on. We're going to focus on that, as well as learning how to leverage your intellectual property. A lot of that, not only leverage what you already have without another degree, another certification, shadowing hours, a job, somebody's approval, what you already have. Teach you how you can leverage that, but also what you do have if you're an entrepreneur, what you already have acquired that can help you create irresistible offers, earn repeatable revenue streams, identify high ticket offers, and have high ticket clients pay for those high ticket offers. I'm not a big proponent of more money, more patients, more money. Let's find less clients who are willing to pay more money. How about that? That's my little niche. So we're going to go over that in the masterclass, and even in more detail in the community that I'm building for you, which I'll be getting into more detail soon. Welcome you to join the DMB Dermatology MPPA group or sister group Derm and Peas and Pays of Atlanta. They're networking groups for people who aspire or practice in medical, surgical, and cosmetic dermatology in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And then our sister group, Derm and Peas and Pays of Atlanta, out there in Georgia. Have the Mahogany Dermatology shop, where it has ebooks for you answering your questions, the most popular questions. How to make that transition from bedside to dermatology is a step-by-step guide for nurses. We have the Dermatology NP Starter Kit. How to be a nurse is down there. At the time that you're watching this, I'm preparing. Yeah, it hasn't happened. Maybe it's happening this week. Right here in Houston, I'm going to be a part of a virtual event talking to high school students. I think they're all high school. About nursing, right? The journey, the decisions, resources, advice. And so looking forward to that. And then I'm supposed to be going out to Massachusetts for a keynote. I'll keep you updated on that. And then once that's over, we'll talk about the negotiation and what it's like to be a public speaker. Did some coaching for that last year. How to be a six-figure speaker. That's another way you can absolutely leverage your intellectual property, talking about just about anything, right? So we'll do some more of that. We'll get into that, not in the masterclass, but in our upcoming accelerator for NP entrepreneurs. We'll deep dive into all these areas in terms of how you can leverage intellectual property, social media, public speaking, writing, through your business, online, in person. I'm looking so forward to that. We have the Mahogany Dermatology blog. So I release these videos every Sunday at 12:15 a.m. Central Time. Record batch content whenever I'm available, but you can count that there will be a new video every Sunday and a new article on the Mahogany Dermatology blog every Monday. And Jade, my intern, the Mahogany Dermatology Nurse Intern for the year, Jade Trevino, just started her YouTube channel. And so go over there, check her out, subscribe, leave a comment or two, and encourage her. You can see our latest article on the blog talking about our lessons learned and advice we have for other nurse-led internships that are not patient-centered, right? Because we can do other things and we need other skills to hone other skills. And we're just sharing our reflection on there. So we invite you to check that out. Let's jump into this case study. And so I'm live, just like Zoom or any other platform. There's a share your screen, and then you click on that. And my advice is to do the window, because when I do the tab and I jump tabs, I always forget. Okay. See all my stuff. Okay, good. There we go. Okay, so let's check it out. So she made this all by herself using Wix. I use a platform called Webflow. And actually, while we're recording this, my designer just told me he thinks we need to rebuild it. So at first I was a little bit, I'm in the middle of launching stuff. Not really the time I want to be revamping the website. But it does give me a chance to, one, learn what the process is like so I can share that with you. But also, they have been asking for some new features to go on there. And it's been a little bit challenging for him to do that. And so with this revamp, then we'll be able to do that. A couple things I want to add is like a search box. And then we're going to see the way Rochelle does her, is it Rochelle or Rachel? I think it's Rachel Dumas, how she updates her videos. I love it. So let's start off. So the first thing, within 3 seconds, can someone tell who you are, what you do, and why it matters? So I don't see the name of her business. And so if we're on the mobile app, right? And I have her linked in the description box. So if you're watching this, I'm just going to pull up the app and see if on the phone it looks any different. But that's the first thing you want to look at when you're creating and examining your own website. And your social media. You're always competing with other things people are being inundated with. Life after 9. I think it's light after 9. But that'll be my first piece of advice. Yep. Okay. Is right now I don't know. Oh, so there we go. There's the home page. Okay. So yeah, first thing we can do, we can see it, right? And right here, resilience through loss, empowerment. Oh, I would have loved to see pregnancy, because on the app, actually, I don't see that little symbol yet, the perinatal workforce task force. So this is a symbol that she just acquired. So she does run this business. It's birthed after her own journey of pregnancy loss. I want to say she had 9 miscarriages. You can go to the NPHub podcast where she tells her story. And so she's been working hard, even through grad school. She's a single mom also. And she's been working overtime. Now, since I would say the last 6 months, she's created her own internship. Originally, she posted that on LinkedIn or Indeed, I can't remember. She got over 60 applications. That cohort just ended. She's about to put out a new set and get a new set of interns. She has a 501c business, and she just put together her board, which is a requirement if you have a 501. She's been working diligently. I want to say she had committed to applying to grants every day for 30 days. And so she's just waiting for some of those responses. And so one of the partnerships that she's established is getting this task force symbol. Now, look, what I told Jade, right, is like everything's made up, right? You can create this, let's say whatever you're trying to solve, whatever problem you're trying to solve, you can create this kind of symbol, right? Anybody can do this. And then it only becomes of greater value when other people sign on. So there's this guy on Forbes. He's worked for a lot of Fortune 500 companies, and his marketing tactic is like not to market and let other people talk about what you do. So to do something that makes other people want to talk about it, which I do actually really love. And one way to incentivize people to talk about what it is that you do that you love is to create these kind of symbols and these communities, right? And so shout out to her for acquiring this and doing it for the most part independently until recently. Okay, so at the top she has her different menu items. We'll come back to that later because that will slow us down. But look, right up, because most people aren't going to click right there, right? They're going to keep scrolling. And so look, we have some statistics, and because I've sat there long enough, you couldn't see, but when you first come to the website, those numbers, you see the numbers scroll, you see the numbers in action. And so that's a kind of nice kind of engagement. Look, we have the clear white background. We have some statistics. It's not too bogged down with text, myself included. Sometimes we get a little overzealous with text. And look at the statistics, right? That's like and this might seem like a small detail, but I'm only saying it because I see it in your marketing, right? Just round the numbers off, make it easy for people, right? for them to just get a sense of what the message you're trying to convey. There's Rachel, and that's a picture that she repurposes when she does her media campaign. So you'll see that everywhere, right? And so whether you do AI photos or you do a brand photo shoot, you can get a lot of photos and repurpose them in a multitude of ways. Now, one advice I would say is I would use a black text. There's a lot, you can look this up yourself, that really to like kind of catch people's attention. They recommend like light background, like this white, and dark text. It really pops. But as someone who wears glasses, I would also recommend a darker font. And not too many words, which I like. And then she's got this link. So this link, you might take this for granted, but it's linking back to something she's already shared. Every time these backlinks, and every time they're accessed, they actually increase your SEO. So if you put backlinks to your content, you're helping yourself get more SEO. And her mission, her value, and look right away, is a call to action, right? Book a service, donate. Now, quite frank, and she has it at the top too. So even if you have a practice dedicated to taking care of patients, as much as possible, you want to make it easy for people to book a call, purchase your good, right? It shouldn't be a struggle. We always want to make it easy for people to work with us. Again, donate. We'll click on stuff later. Great images. You're going to see she has a really wonderful job of representation. And so you have to know who your target audience is and make sure they know that you're talking to them. I love this website. I can't tell you how much I love it enough. The videos, the images, the graphics. Now, one thing, as you can see, there's this box over here, this kind of dialogue box off to the side, because she told me that the way that it's configured right now is like for the tablet, like an Apple tablet or something. So that's why it's going off screen, but she's going to fix it. And sometimes these things happen. You just got to get past it, right? And just fix it when you can. And when I see my friends have these kind of things, it's just like lipstick on the teeth. I just tell them, right? They're not going to, I know sometimes people find things like that confrontational. I don't think it's confrontational. And some people say, oh, I don't want them to be embarrassed. Well, the last thing on their mind is being embarrassed. They want people to be able to read the information that they have on the website. And if you see it, you can be of help. But how cute is that baby? I just love this website over and over. Testimonials, we talk about testimonials all the time. Now, one thing I can tell you from my coaching right now, so a lot of us are either new business owners or we have a new service or good that we're putting out into the market. So when you talk about a testimonial, that's like your Google review, letting people know how great it is of what you sell, right? So you can say, look, I don't have any clients. How can I have testimonials? Two ways. You can, so you might not have a testimonial for this new thing that you created, but maybe you've consulted in the past. Maybe you've helped people do something else in the past, and they can speak to what it's like working with you, right? This could even be a coworker, quite frankly, maybe work on a project together. So you can get a testimonial that way. Also, which I'm going to be doing for my masterclass is it for my masterclass? No, I don't need, no, for my upcoming accelerator program, I'm going to need beta testers. And so with that, you can do free. You can have people participate, check out your service or good for free, or make it heavily discounted. And that goes back to what I mentioned before, that people don't pay attention to anything that they don't pay for. And you'll hear other people say this over and over. It's really for their good, because when we make an investment in ourselves, when we have skin in the game, we're more likely to pay attention, to be involved, to care. And so, and it still is your intellectual property. It is still time that you put in. So you can go about it anyway. These are other ways you can get testimonials, even if you're new in the market. People who've worked with you in the past, they can speak to your character, what it's like to work with you, or you can give people access to that new thing that you've created and then ask for a testimonial there too. Now, whether you have them pay for it or not, you can still ask, hey, in exchange for this discount, in exchange for getting free access, do you mind sharing a testimonial? And then you just want to get permission to do that. Now, I noticed what Jasmine teaches us is to get their name and to get permission. And you can go about it anyway, really. And so you can get text, you can get video. Some people are not into video, so you can think about ways to incentivize the video. That's always something. You can see people get discounts for future purchases for their testimonial. But a lot of people put in effort and time to get those testimonials, Google reviews, even on social media. People will go in people's DMs and just ask them to follow them. Closed mouths don't get fed, and the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And so you can say, oh, I don't want to do it that way. I want to be organic. Go about it any way you want. Just know that when you compare yourself to other people, just know that sometimes the people that you see with high numbers or on screen or getting invitations, it's because they're putting themselves out there. Last week, I told you about that episode with Mel Robbins and Professor Allison from Harvard. I can't remember her first name, but she's the author of the book Talk. She said that. She said the people who don't speak up and talk about their own contributions don't get recognized for those contributions, because you're assuming other people are always watching you, but you're assuming they're watching you for the things that you think matter. And so advice for you as an employee or as a student is to always document your own contributions, so that when you are applying for that next job or renegotiating your contract, you can say, hey, look, here's what I've done. And what she said is, which one of these do you find meaningful? Which of these things actually have been of benefit to you and the company? And which one of these things haven't made any difference, right? Because then you want to put more of your attention there. Just like when you're looking at your social media data analytics, same thing. Where are people interacting with you the most? Where are you getting the most return on that time? Because that's what you're going to continue to create. Same with social media in terms of the content. If you see people are more attracted to one thing than another, then that's what the people want from you, right? And just continue to put that thing out. It's just like what I say when you come up with your business and you're identifying a pain point with someone. Find one of their problems, master solving that problem, and then just keep doing it over and over again. And when you put systems in place, it makes it easy for you to do it over and over again. And not you, but your team to delegate that, right? Every time you get an idea, it doesn't mean you have to be the one to execute it. That's where the visionary becomes separate from the worker bee or the manager even. Okay, so now we have some more images, representation, right? And then another call to action, what to do, right? These are the different services she offers, which is nice. It's aesthetically pleasing. And then you can click on those pictures and you can interact with them that way. Very engaging. And does that take us back? Oh, perfect. I love that. But again, you can see how the images go off screen, and she's going to fix that. And look at her. Look at all her features. So one thing, even I was challenged on my own blog when I have things I want to update. We haven't been able to really do that seamlessly. And so I'm actually going to use Rachel's website when I meet with my web designer and go through it like I'm going through with you, tell them all the things that I really like and what I want to use myself. And you can do the same thing, right? Shout out to Rachel for putting this all together. And she still has stuff she needs to update. But yeah, she did all this herself. And then look, more representation. Again, I would make recommendations with this text that's light text, a little bit hard to see, but I like how she highlights the word light. And then again, another opportunity to interact with her. Upcoming events, she needs to add more, she said. But look at this. This is so nice. This is how you can kind of show what you're doing, right? What you're doing in the community. Even if you're, like, say, a public speaker, it lets people know this is where you'll be. They can support you, but also, other ways that they might ask for you to show up for them. Other ways you can get paid, right? I wouldn't know that she does all this unless she puts herself out there. And so if you want to be known for doing something, you have to tell people you're doing it. And then at the bottom, nice and simple, she has a little quote. She has all her social media icons. Every once in a while, I do go on my website and I check, make sure they're all still accurate. All these little features, these are not clickable. They're just for design aesthetics. And then how to reach you. So many people don't have this on there. It seems really simple, but I've contacted so many companies and they don't have their contact information on the website. I have to go through Facebook to get them. So I highly recommend this. You want to make as few clicks as possible for your client to work with you. And then again, here you have all the different ways that you can interact with her. And then she tells you again who they are, nice and simple. And she has her little AI bot, right? So many different ways you can use AI on your website and in your business now. Not only answering frequently asked questions, creating your own customized chat GPTs, but also answering phones. And in dermatology, we're using AI. You can see it for prior authorizations, images, documentation, billing, pathology. Derm Path Assist AI is just one of those features. We're just going to continue to see more of that. And here, this is how people can contact you. So as I told you last time, I'm in the middle of making my first registration page and sales page. And these are things you can add to your page because remember, your email list is super, super important. Amy Porterfield talks all about that in ways that you can acquire numbers, acquire clients' information. One way you can do that is what we call a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is something that attracts people to you, right? Lead them in the customer journey. How do people find you? And once they find you, how do they interact with you? And then through that interaction, when do they actually become a paid client? And so, name and last name is helpful. Email, you see it's starred. She wants that email, it's required. And now she doesn't have to only interact with you on social media, she can interact with you in your inbox because only 10% of the people are going to see what you create. And people are really complaining on Instagram that their followers aren't seeing their content. And right now, Instagram's really highlighting small accounts. But the real thing that all the platforms are highlighting, not really LinkedIn, LinkedIn's a little different, is your content. So one video can go viral out of nowhere. And so your social media caption is really important because that's SEO. So if I go and Google pregnancy loss, and she's done 100 social media captions on pregnancy loss, it's going to show up. But if she didn't do anything in the caption and it was just on the screen in her video, it won't show up. And so captions are super, super important. And they're more important than your follower count. But anyway, email is a way to, one, you don't own those social media platforms. And so if they go down or something happens, you won't be able to reach your client. Only 10% of people are going to see what you do, and they have to see it at the time that you post it, right? And then these other ones, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, see, I would make recommendations for these texts. The platform I'm using right now is Kit. It used to be called ConvertKit. Jasmine actually partnered with them instead of creating a whole platform herself, right? Like what a lot of my nurse friends would do is go create it themselves. She just like, look, I found a company that's already excelling in that. Let me proposition them to see if we can partner. I have a large audience I can put in front of them. And then everyone wants access to your audience. Okay, everyone. That's another thing you can do to increase repeatable revenue. If you're having something, if you own something, who else would want to benefit being in front of your audience? And all they need, any entrepreneur would tell you, I just need those 30 seconds, right? Or 1 minute, 5 minutes, just to make my pitch. That's all we want. And so I don't know why I went down that road. But yeah. Anyway, so Kit. So I'm using Kit to create my registration page. I don't know if I'll do it to make the sales page. But on there, you have the option to do these little features where you can put kind of like these drop downs. And so, yeah. And then a way people can pay. Now, she had something I wanted to show you guys. Maybe it's partner with us, where she has what we're going to call, so you have your customer relations management software. So let's say someone signs up for my masterclass. Once they sign up, then they should get a whole set of emails kind of talking more about the masterclass leading up to it, reminding them to show up live, reminding them that if they show up live, they'll get a bonus by showing up live. But the people who so they're already have agreed. So they should get things that's leading them up to showing up. Whereas if I have people who haven't agreed yet, then they should only get emails that continue to incentivize signing up for the masterclass. And so you can certainly do that manually, but they have tools out here called customer relation management tools that can kind of funnel people based on where they fit, right? So right now I do that manually. I have categories and labels for different emails, and depending on what I'm sharing, then these people get that information and other people get different information. But she has it here on her page. Oh, perfect. This is it. Okay. So on this page, right? So you get first name, last name, email, company, all this stuff, right? Now look at this. You have different type of partnerships: sponsorship, event, collaboration, organization, hospital partnerships. So if I'm a hospital and I click here, and next time she wants to send out one email at one time and blind copy it, or if she's using customer relations management, she doesn't have to blind copy it. But now everyone has different categories. So when she wants to contact a certain category and tell them about maybe something she's offering, it will automatically only go to the people who clicked on hospital partnership, because people who click on hospital partnership might not care about her event collaborations. So if this is you and you have a practice and maybe you have something for pediatrics, you have something for your cosmetic patients, and then you have something for your big ticket clients. Not everyone might not want to get the same email. And this makes it easy for you to keep track of who is in those categories, where you might want to put more time and attention into creating more offers, but also makes it easy for you to communicate and communicate with them, keep that relationship going. Because email is direct, so is phone number, right? You're going to see more and more people getting phone number, as I've mentioned before, because now you might check your email 3 times a day. You might check your phone every 3 minutes, and so you're going to see more and more people asking for that. So that's something you can do if you haven't already done that. If you're not already sending out regular newsletters, blog posts, and you don't have to be. When we talk about, let's say, for instance, having multiple streams of income, sometimes people hear that and think, I'm just checking to make sure you guys are still there. Multiple streams of income. They need to have 7 jobs, right? Because there's a thing out there, they need to have 7 streams of income. And people immediately think they need to have 7 jobs, but you don't need to have 7 jobs. You just need to have multiple extensions of what you're already doing. And so I forgot why I went down that line, but so you have your one practice, and instead of saying, oh, I need to have 7 different businesses, how else can you leverage what you're already doing, right? One way you might make money is seeing patients in person. Another way, you might be a public speaker. You might have merch or products that you sell, right? But it's all coming from the same parent company. And then you're just finding ways to kind of upsell the client. And you can know what to upsell if you just listen to them. They're going to tell you what they want. Everyone's always going to want something else, whether it's a question asked or help. And if you don't have that, you're automatically sending them to someone else who does. And it's okay if you don't have it now, because you can eventually get it, right? So yeah. And so again, she has her partnerships here, and this elevates her brand, right? She's not just a solopreneur anymore. And these other people are promoting what she does. Who else benefits from you being in business? And it benefits them to talk about it, right? And then again, representation, ways to engage with the platform, testimonials, sharing her own story without it being too wordy. Again, the only real feedback is the font. And then again, you can multiple ways to interact with her. So yeah. So we've already talked, we see what she's doing, who she's doing it for, right? She's offering services. A big thing that she talks about. So this month is April. She's talking about her journey, really. But in May, she'll be back for Mother's Day, and we're going to highlight her company. So actually, this is perfect timing for that. You'll be able to see this in time before that episode comes out. But one of the things she does, and I don't know that she was using this wording before our first call, but once she started talking, to me, that's what it sounded like, was maternal palliative care. And so really, I should tell her she needs to coin that phrase. And so that's really what she does mostly, is after her experience of pregnancy loss and having to experience so many of those alone in the bathroom, at home, that now she consults and she offers services for hospitals and nursing staff and advisory boards to properly assess, treat women so that they get the care that they need when they need it. And so she physically will go to the hospital, work with the staff, set up policies, do the walkthrough, be the patient, identify gaps in care to make it better, right? And what I love about her business is it's a different example for you on a way that you can have a business, take care of patients, and not necessarily need multiple patients. She has high-paying clients, right? We're talking about big entities. She speaks at the Capitol. The time that we were filming this, she just came back from a virtual conference, and she's headed to DC on the Capitol, and she does that all the time. And she's going to be in big media campaigns. So let's see, we've evaluated her website, we looked at her company structure, and now we're talking about what you can do. We've talked multiple ways about what you can do for this. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can maybe you're not interested in maternal care at all or palliative care, but you've seen what she's done and you're like, you know what, I'm really into derm. I love how she's providing this outside service. What's some way I can provide this outside support, right? So you just be inspired by these opportunities, by the design, by her team structure. That's why we're doing them. So you can just see other examples that are out there because it all comes down to exposure. If you haven't already, I invite you to send me an email to hello@Mahogany Dermatology so you can sign up for that masterclass and we can teach you how to leverage your intellectual property. I'll be talking to you more and more about my accelerator program and how that can help you, whether you're trying to start, optimize, or scale your business or get into a digital space, either through business or branding, public speaking, social media. I've tried it all. And I want to help you do it, but to execute quickly. That's what we're doing in this program that I'm doing. Is we have templates that you just fill and go, right? You don't have to go Google your life away. Well, we've already done all that work for you. This way you can get it done. You can learn what it is, put it into practice and move on with your life, right? That's the life we need, right? Because we have a full-time life and a full-time job and we're trying to build our dream on the side. We invite you to join our networking group, check out the blog. And that's going to wrap up our case study for today. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. If you're ready to take action and avoid some of these pitfalls in your own business, then join that masterclass. We're going to go over these strategies and answer your questions. And we're going to be lining up some experts in the field who can help you. One thing I'm so glad. One thing I was going to mention for her website, and you can do for your own website. If you're not familiar, there's people called UX UI. That's one of my friends. She does that. So what they do is they kind of will look at a digital space and make sure that it's user friendly, easy to navigate. How many clicks does it take to do something? So you can have a web. Goes back to that niche, right? You can't do all of it. No one does all of it. And doesn't mean you have to invest all your money up front either. You just invest when you need it. So someone might design your website. Then you might have a UX UI person come in and talk about you should design it maybe like on a PowerPoint or something so that they can look at it before someone puts all their energy into it. But anyway, they'll go in there and look how easy user-friendly it is and provide suggestions on how you can do that. She teaches a whole class around this. That's how important it is. And so if that's something you're struggling with, that might be an expert that you can utilize, right? And get the help you need. We talk about that all the time here. Well, that's going to wrap it up. I thank you. If you had the chance to join me for these last 3 episodes, I thank you for your time. I thank you for watching. Remember to reach out. Let us know how we can support you. And we thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.